can start, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kia Burman from Burman Eye Care, Gurgaon. Today we'll be talking a little bit about our eyesight because the World Sight Day just went by, and I think it's a very important topic which we all need to understand and share. So now, why is sight so important? We have so many senses. We have 5 senses, and they are all important, I understand. But sight is one of the most important senses because without sight, we cannot see anything, we cannot make memories, we cannot understand the world around us. So it is our window to the world. It helps us connect to other people. All our happy memories are all what we have seen or what we have traveled. We went there and saw something. That's how our memories are also built. So, and this is something which you are aware of all the time. So yes, sight is a very important sensory organ, and without that, the world is totally dark. So yes, we need to take care of our eyes. Why are we talking about all such things? Why is World Sight Day important, or why it is needed to be celebrated, or why is the awareness required for this? Because there are so many causes of blindness in this world. There are so many blind people around in this world. So if you see globally, there are 2.2 billion people who have some problem in their eyes, because of which there is no vision or very impaired vision or very less vision in their eyes, out of which 1 million people, this could have been totally avoided with some treatment or anything. So it is very important for us to understand that there are so many people around who are blind or who are not able to function, but this could have been totally avoided if they could have got proper medical treatment at the right time. So this is also very important. There are so many people who are not aware why they are blind, and they need to get their eyes checked. They need to treat it. So according to a recent survey, there is 2% of Indian population which is approximately blind. That is around 1.1 million people. Out of this are only blind because of cornea. So if the cornea, that is the outermost front layer of your eye, which you see as the black thing in your eye, if that thing has some opacity or some problem, because of which around 1.1 million people are blind only in India. So we need around 1 lakh corneal transplants yearly, but we don't do that much number. We do just 1/4 of it. The current annual transplant number is only 25,000. So yes, the awareness for this needs to increase. People need to donate their corneas more, so that this number we can increase, and there are so many blind people which we can make them see again. So yes, this is something which we have to create awareness amongst us, amongst our society, amongst our relatives, amongst everybody, so that yes, this thing also can be taken care of. So we need more cornea donors. Okay, so what is sight and what is vision? Sight is a physical thing. You see a tree, the image falls on your eye retina. The image falls as a upside down picture. Can you see this? So this is what sight is. Now these signals are going to your brain. Brain is a very complex structure. There is not only a single part of the brain which is assigned to your sight. So these signals go to the brain. The brain now is going to interpret this image signals which have gone to the brain, and then it is going to correlate it with the surrounding areas of the brain, like your hearing, the taste, and everything. And all these areas, whatever we are seeing, then it is interpreted in a totally different way. So you might be just seeing a tree, but this tree might have a special significance to you. It might be a tree where you grew up in your childhood, and you might have been sitting and having an apple there. So it might have had fond memories. These fond memories and everything, the thing is being interpreted in your brain. So sight is a physical thing, but how interpreted is your vision. So this is how the sight and vision are important. So if you have, so all our life, whatever we do, whatever memories we have, whatever happiness we have or sadness we have, everything is related to our sight. So very important to take care of our sight and our vision. So now going from all these things to the normal proper structure of the eye. The structure of the eye has, as you can see, this is a cross section of the eye, in which you can see this is the cornea, that is the front clear lens of the eye. We see the cornea is black, but it is not black in color. It's a clear lens. It is one of the most important lens in our eye. The second lens is here inside, in which you might have heard that people develop cataracts after a certain age when they grow older. This is where the cataract develops. And this is where the donated eyes are being used, the cornea transplants. This is where it is used, okay? And the color is because of the structure of the eye, which is known as iris. Can you see the structure? Our color of the eyes, people having different color eyes is because of this structure called iris and the pigmentation of the iris. This is the ciliary body. This is, it's very difficult to understand, but this is somewhere, this area is somewhere related to the development of glaucoma or kala motia. There are three layers of the eye. The innermost is retina. Then in between there is the blood vessels layer, which is known as choroid, and the outermost is sclera. From all the signals fall on the retina, and the signals then go into the optic nerve, and this goes towards the brain. So now we are going to discuss about a few common eye problems. We will be discussing a lot of problems in detail, but some few things like color blindness and night blindness we'll be discussing here. Can you see this first picture? This is how a normal person sees green, yellow, and red. But if you see a colorblind, he also sees them differently. He also has a different green. He also has a red. But for him, green and red is different. It is very different from what we see. He sees everything in the shades of gray. So that is how a colorblind person sees. And this is something which is not treatable. Color blindness usually is not treatable because it is genetic, and color blindness can be passed on. So yes, color blindness is something, but yes, it is treatable. If you want to get rid of your color blindness or you want to see the colors normally, there are some contact lenses available nowadays which help you see colors the way how a normal person sees. So that is how color blindness can be treated. Common eye problems in children would be refractive errors. That means glass power, something called lazy eyes or amblyopia, strabismus, squint, and ptosis. We are going to take these the diseases in a little bit more detail later on. These are the common eye problems which an older person or an adult will face. So now there are some refractive errors. The first refractive error, which is the commonest refractive error or glass power problem, is myopia or nearsightedness. In this, the eyeball is a little larger than normal or a longer than normal, and that is why the focused light, the light which is focused, does not fall on the retina how it should fall, but it falls in front of the retina. So what happens is the person will not see distance things clearly. दूर का कम दिखता है, but उनको नजदीक का यानी कि near things will be clearer to them. They will have super normal near vision. They can see even very near to their eye, face also, but they will not be able to see distance things. That is something called myopia or nearsightedness. Usually it can be hereditary also. Now, what do we do? This usually is seen in kids. Kids, the commonest thing is myopia. They will have headaches. They will go near the TV to see the TV. They might tilt their head, squint their head to see wherever they can see better. What we need to do? Each child after the age of 3 years, if you see that they are having some trouble seeing distance things, or they are watching TV from too near, or they are trying to write things and they go too near to the book to see that, that is when there should be a red signal in your head that you need to get their eyes checked, because it might be myopia. The power of spectacles have to be given to them. They need to wear spectacles, and when they grow older, they can shift over to contact lenses. Over the age of 18, or when the power has stabilized, they can also take the option of laser eye surgery. But till that time, they need to wear glasses. It is very important to treat myopia. I hear a lot that my patients say, "Abhi to bachcha bahut chota hai, abhi chashma nahi pehnate hain, baad mein pehnayenge." So there is a problem with that, because eye is something, whatever it sees, it learns. If it doesn't see clearly, it doesn't learn how to see clearly. And that is when amblyopia starts forming. So it is very important for a child to start wearing the glasses whenever the glass prescription has been prescribed, because the development of the eye will happen till the age of 8 years. maximum 10 or 12 years. After that, whatever development of the eye has happened, that is permanent. So if you wait for the child to grow up and then give him glass power, by that time it might be too late. His vision might not have developed properly. It is more important to understand that if the patient has different power in both the eyes, it is more important for them to wear glasses even more, because if there is a difference between two eyes, the eye which has more power will develop less and the eye which has less power will develop more. So then, and that difference will always remain. Now, the second kind of refractive error is hyperopia or farsightedness. In this, the eyeball is a little shorter than normal, and that is why the focused light falls behind the retina. These people usually see distant things clearly, but near things they cannot see. So they'll have strain while reading, they will not write properly, they'll write, their handwriting would be quite poor, they will have headaches while doing near work. Sometimes if the hyperopia or plus power is quite a lot, kids can develop squint or crossed eyes because of that. So kids, if there is a squint or crossed eyes, most important to dilate their eyes and check for hyperopia or farsightedness or plus power. So and there is a special type of plus power which comes to people over 35, that is known as presbyopia. It is because of we growing older or we aging, because of which the lens elasticity is lost, and that's why we don't need glasses for distance, but we might need reading glasses to be used, otherwise we can't see near things. Hyperopia, the commonest problem would be the kids squinting, trouble reading words, going bad in studies, headaches. Patients will complain of headaches very often. So yes, definitely we need to treat that, address that, start making them wear glasses. So now the most important thing, why I was telling that we need to check all the kids when they are between the 3 to 5 years age group. Each and every child should be checked when they are between the age of 3 to 5. Why? Because the eye development is happening that time. Maximum development of the eye happens by the age of 8 years. If you are late in checking out the glass power, they have a squint or they have unequal glass power, then what will happen is the eye development will not happen properly. As I told you earlier, the eye is something which develops only when it sees. If it doesn't see clearly, it does not develop properly. So in this picture, as you can see, this child is squinting, this eye is focused, but this eye is not. That means only this eye is seeing. This eye is not seeing right now. And this is the eye which will have lower vision. If you do not make the patient wear glasses, treat the squint or do patching exercises, this eye will not have good vision forever. So it is very important for us to address this problem as soon as possible, and treatment for amblyopia is possible. The first thing you need to do is do a proper dilated eye examination, find out the power, give the proper prescription for glasses. If you have a squint, if you have amblyopia, you have to give the total glass prescription. You cannot give less. You have to give the total glass prescription, and then you have to patch the good eye. When you patch the good eye, you are forcing the eye which has less vision to start seeing. And that is why you give exercises or you force the eye which is not seeing well to see, because brain is a very tricky thing. What it will do is, when it sees that this eye has good vision and this eye has less vision, it will block the images from the eye which is having a blurred vision, and it will only see through this eye. And that is the reason you will have to stop the good eye to see, so that this eye starts developing. We have to fool the brain. So that is how amblyopia is being treated by patching. So that is the workout of your lazy eye. Now there's something called astigmatism. When you see somebody's glass prescription, you might have seen a spherical as well as a cylindrical power. People say cylindrical agya. So this is what astigmatism is all about. These patients usually do not have very too much of vision problems. They usually see well, but the problem is headaches. They will have a lot of eye strain. They might be able to squint or tilt their heads to decrease the blurred or distorted vision. They will also have difficulty in driving at night. So this is because of astigmatism. Can you see in this picture? A person sees it as totally clear. An astigmatism, person with astigmatism also sees it. But can you see this? There's a blurred image after image along with that. That is how what happens in astigmatism. It usually happens because of this structure of the eye, which is known as the cornea. If it is not equal, the shape is not equal in all axes. If the cornea is steeper in one axis and flatter in another axis, that is how you usually develop astigmatism. So yes, as I told you, squint is something which we need to understand. Squint is treatable. If a kid is born with squint, most of the squints in kids, if the eye is going inside, is because of high plus power. You just make them wear glasses and the squint goes away. It can be just treated with something as simple as glasses. Squint can be also because of muscle problems. If that is the case, then we'll have to do a surgery in the eye. Sometimes kids can get hit, elders also can get hit, and they can get squint. If there's some problem in the eye, there's some problem in whole of the eye, and the eye's vision is less, then also we can have squint. So the squint, we have to find out the reason for it, and then we'll have to treat it. Because if you don't treat squint before a proper age, then the eye which is squinted does not have good vision, and that is lost forever. And once you grow up and you try to do anything, you might not be able to do anything for that eye. So it is very important to understand that time is of essence in these cases. You have to do the treatment before the child grows up. The child grows up beyond 6, 7, 10 years of age. So you need to treat it before that. Earlier the better, because the earlier you treat it, the better the results will be. There's something also known as ptosis. It's not very common. It's a quite uncommon thing in which the lid is drooping. Can you see this? Lid is drooping. It can be congenital. It can be age related. Older people can also get it. It can be because of injury also. Now, the most important thing to understand is if a child has ptosis, and if the pupil, if you see this area where the light reflex is falling, if the pupil is getting covered, you need to treat it as early as possible, because if the pupil is getting covered, the vision will not develop, the patient will develop amblyopia. If the lid is not getting covered, you can wait and do it later on when the child grows up. The surgery is the only treatment for ptosis. You cannot do more anything more for that. So very important to see if the pupil is getting covered or not. If the vision is good, pupil is not getting covered, you can wait for it, just for a cosmetic surgery, you can do it later on. But if the vision is getting blurred, the kid doesn't have good vision in this eye, or the pupil is getting covered, it is better to treat it as soon as possible, because kids with ptosis will also have some head tilt, because they will try to tilt their head and see from beyond that, so that the lid goes beyond the pupil and they can start seeing. So there will be a lot of head tilt and all these things also developing over a period of time. Now there's something called corneal ulcers. We don't see as many nowadays, but when I started my residency, we used to see a lot, especially in government colleges. This usually we see in the village setup where people do a lot of farming, they get injured because of vegetative material or something in their eye, wood, vegetative material. If you get hit in the eye or injured because of that, or there's a foreign body, you're doing grinding and there's something falls in your eyes and you don't treat it, the foreign body is still left in your eye, that is when the infections happen. If the infection is bacteria, it can be bacterial, viral, fungal, parasitic, anything, and you have to treat it accordingly. Can you see this area? This is the area where the ulcer has formed. Like how you have ulcers on your body, you can have ulcer on your cornea also. And can you see the pus being settled down and filled up here? It's extremely painful condition. Sometimes in very severe cases, you might need a cornea transplant to just remove the whole cornea and put another cornea to just take off the bacterial load from the eye. So that might also be needed in very, very bad, uncontrolled or mismanaged cases. So very important for you to take care if you get injured with a blade of grass, or maybe a plant, or maybe something like that. You need to go to a doctor and take care of it as soon as possible. Take an antibiotic coverage so that you don't end up into a corneal ulcer like this. This is something which we have all experienced at one time or another, which is known as conjunctivitis, or commonly known as pink eye. So in this, it can be of different varieties. The commonest one is bacterial, which usually you see when the monsoons come or the rainy season starts. You see bacterial conjunctivitis often, and then it is the most important thing to understand is it is transmissible only if the water which is coming out of your eyes goes from one person to another person. So do not wipe your eyes often. Don't wash it with water. Do not wash it with water, because if you wash, you're going to infect your other eye also. Your towel, your bed, your pillow, everything should be a little separate, because the water coming out of your eyes loaded with bacteria or viruses, and it can then infect another person. People wear glasses. Glasses are not required because you will not get conjunctivitis just by looking at a person. You will get conjunctivitis when the person is wiping the eye with a napkin or a tissue or something, and then he does not throw it away. He does not sanitize his hands, and then he opens the door, and you also open the same door handle. This is how it spreads from one person to another person. And viral conjunctivitis are a little difficult to treat. They can cause cornea spots on the cornea also. So it is very difficult that in viral conjunctivitis you take care and you take the treatment properly. It might take a long time to heal, and the pain, redness, hemorrhages also might come because of viral conjunctivitis. Always understand, if you are a contact lens wearer and you have conjunctivitis, never wear your contact lenses, because if you wear your contact lenses, you are going to cause severe infections. You might even develop a corneal ulcer because of that. Now, the commonest thing which each and every person of us are going to have, which is cataract or motiabind, which is also one of the commonest causes of treatable blindness. Cataract, what is the meaning of cataract? The natural lens which is there inside our eye, it becomes opaque or it becomes clouded. And how does it become? It is because water enters inside. The protein which is made up of, the lens is made up of, it goes bad because of age. It goes a little bad, denatured. And because of that, it becomes yellowish colored. It sometimes develops opacity. Some water enters inside because of reverse osmosis. And then that is how the lens gets clouded and you don't see well. The meaning of the word cataract is seeing through a waterfall. How will you see through a waterfall? The same way you see. Can you see? This is a picture in which it is a normal vision, and this is how a person with cataract sees. They also see the cat, they also see everything, but everything is a little clouded. How do you know that you have cataract? The first thing which will happen is when you're driving at night, you see halos around the light. You will have trouble driving at night. Second thing would be there will be frequent changes in your glass prescription. Every time you go to the optometrist or the opticals or the doctor, every time they'll give you a new glass prescription. You will be blaming it on them giving you a wrong glass power, but it's your cataract which is causing the glass prescription to change very frequently. And the colors will change. The way you see colors also changes. You will see a halo around the light. You will have trouble reading at night. In low lighted conditions or at night, you will have trouble reading. Who are the people who are at risk for cataract? People who develop early cataract can be because of diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes. If you are on oral steroid therapy, these are the people who are more prone to developing cataract. But cataract actually can happen to anybody, and it is usually going to happen to everybody because everybody is aging. You can't stop aging. But yes, if you take care of your health, and then your body ages slower, and that is how you can delay cataract as much as possible. It can also come because of an eye injury. If there's a blunt trauma or a penetrating trauma to your eye, then also you can develop cataracts. Cataracts also happens in young kids. Kids can be born with cataract because of some infection which can happen inside the mother's womb. So now, what is the treatment for cataract surgery? The treatment for cataract surgery is, this is the lens which has gone clouded. You remove the whole lens, clean up this area, and in the same bag, you put an artificial lens. That is what is the treatment for cataract surgery. Modern cataract surgery is extremely well advanced. What has happened nowadays, we don't need an injection. We don't need to give local anesthesia to that area. We can just do it under local anesthesia drops. You can do it from a 1.8 millimeter small cut. You can put injectable or rollable lenses inside the eye. So now modern cataract surgery has become almost painless. It is absolutely well advanced, and the vision quality is much superior than what we used to get earlier. So, and a lot of special lenses are available which can help you get rid of your dependency on distance and near glasses both. So modern cataract surgery is the only surgery which has gone through so many changes and so many advancements. It is the most advanced surgery in the whole of the world. So this is how it will be. It is a daycare procedure. You do not need to get admitted to a hospital. The cataractous lens in your eyes will be changed, and an artificial lens will be put in your eye. Most of the doctors who do it under topical anesthesia don't even patch your eyes. You can just wear a glass and go out. You are totally awake and aware of the procedure. It is absolutely safe and comfortable. 7 days you're not allowed to take hair bath, but healing usually happens within a month or 2 months. Okay, so cataract surgery is nothing to be afraid of. When you get it, you just deal with it and get a very good lens in your eyes, and you will be absolutely happy with the quality of vision even after a cataract surgery. There's something called known as Kala motia. It has nothing to do with cataract because cataract is known as motia. Kala motia is actually glaucoma. It is a condition in which the pressure in your eye, the eyeball is like a ball. There's a pressure buildup and which presses on the structures of the eye. As I told you, there's a blood layer also. So if eyeball is a closed ball kind of structure, if the pressure builds up, what will happen is all the pressure will go towards the wall of the eyeball. And the blood vessels which are on this wall, they get compressed. And when they get compressed, the blood supply to the optic nerve gets sabotaged and it decreases. And that is when slowly this optic nerve starts dying. Central nerves die first and then the peripheral nerves. Sorry, peripheral nerves die first and then the central nerves. So central nerves are most safe, and that all usually is for the vision in the center. So it is very important for us to understand that glaucoma is a silent thief of sight. It does not give any warning signs. You do not have any signs or symptoms of glaucoma. You will not be even aware that you have glaucoma. And that is the reason whenever you go to an ophthalmologist, the first thing they will check is your eye pressure. Even if you say that you have glaucoma, you want to get checked for glaucoma or not, they'll still check your eye pressure because there is no signs and symptoms of glaucoma. Who are at risk for developing glaucoma? Anybody who's above the age of 60. And if you have a family of history of glaucoma, get yourself checked after the age of 40. If you have conditions like diabetes, heart disease, or high blood pressure, you need to get yourself checked. If you are extremely farsighted, nearsighted, that means you have more plus power or more minus power, either of the extremes, then also you have a high risk of developing glaucoma. If you had some eye injury or sometimes some eye surgeries can also lead to glaucoma. If you have been taking steroid drops or oral steroids for a long time, then also you are at risk for developing glaucoma. If you have any of the risk factors, you should definitely get yourself checked for glaucoma. Because glaucoma is a preventable blindness. The problem with glaucoma is whatever vision is lost cannot be got back. But you can stop the vision from getting lost. You can just stop the disease at one point, but just by controlling the eye pressure. As you can see, this is how a normal person sees. In glaucoma, the central vision is lost last because of the God's protective phenomenon. God has made it such a way that peripheral nerves are damaged first and the central nerves are damaged last. And that's the reason what you will develop is a tunnel vision. So person will not even know that he's not seeing the peripheries, but he will have trouble in the severe stages, in the end stages of glaucoma, crossing a road, because he will not be aware that there's a car coming from on the side. He's only seeing the central part. So something coming from the side, they'll not be able to see because they'll develop this tunnel vision. So yes, just a simple drop can help you avoid this kind of this kind of permanent blindness. So in glaucoma, what they usually do is they check up your eye pressure. They will check up if the areas from where the water is getting drained or the gutters from where the water is getting drained, are they open or not? That is known as gonioscopy, the next test. The third test is they will see if your nerves are functioning or not. If your nerves are functioning, in this test, you will be seeing all the lights at all intensities in all areas. But if the light is not being seen by you at different intensities, that means some nerves are being damaged and you need to start treatment for glaucoma. So this is the most important test to diagnose glaucoma. So, and glaucoma, the most important treatment is eye drops. Nobody can take away the importance of medical treatment of glaucoma. The best treatment is drops. With drops, you can keep the eye pressure under control, go for regular eye checkups with your ophthalmologist, check that the eye pressure is under control. Your perimetry does not have more damage. If the damage is controlled, eye drops are the best way to treat it. If the eye drops are not able to treat it, then there are other surgery options are laser therapy, filtering surgery, drainage tubes and all this. But surgery for glaucoma is not so successful as drops are. So better to take drops at the proper time, not let it go worse so that we need any of the surgeries, because even with surgeries, the chances are not 100% that it will be working for you. Now there's something called age-related macular degeneration, which happens with older people. So in age-related macular degeneration, there are usually two types of age-related macular degeneration. One is dry and one is wet. Dry ARMD is not something which is usually treated. The treatment usually is antioxidants. We give you antioxidants so that it does not increase. Most important risk factors are hereditary. If your father had or somebody had, then you also are at high risk. Smoking and obesity. So please take care. Smokers, be aware of this and please try to keep it as minimum as possible. So there are 90% of the cases are dry ARMD. But 10% of the cases can become a wet ARMD. Wet ARMD means in this ARMD spots, there might be a small blood vessels, a new blood vessel, which can bleed and cause scarring at the main area of seeing called the macula, and it can damage your vision. So wet ARMD is the one which we need to treat and which is very notorious, because even with multiple injection and everything, wet ARMD can still damage your vision. So it is very important for us to diagnose and treat it at the right time and keep the scarring and the bleeding to the minimum so that your vision is not damaged forever. So this is how an ARMD person sees. This is a normal vision. ARMD, because it damages the central area of vision, they see a black spot in the center. They see the surrounding, totally opposite of glaucoma, but in the center, they see a black spot. So yes, they will do an OCT and see if there is a swelling and if there is any bleeding in your eye. They might do an angiography to see if there is any blood vessel which is leaking, and then they might help you with injections if it is required to stop the progression of the disease, or at least slow or keep the disease under control. Now, the most common thing, because of our sedentary lifestyle, we have a lot nowadays. We are getting India also has a huge amount of diabetes. People are getting diabetes a lot because our lifestyle has changed. The amount of money we spend on food and everything also has changed. Obesity also is becoming quite rampant. So because of this, diabetic retinopathy is also something which we are needed to be aware of. It is one of the commonest, now becoming one of the commonest reasons of blindness in older people. So what happens in diabetes? Because in diabetes, what happens if your diabetes is uncontrolled, even in controlled diabetics after the age of, after 20 years of having diabetes, this can still damage your eyes. So what happens is, because diabetes, what it does, it causes damages to the blood vessel, and new blood vessels crop up on your retina. And when these new blood vessels crop up, these new blood vessels are usually leaky. They can bleed, they can cause hemorrhages, they can cause swelling on the retina, and that is how it can damage your vision. So you can have hemorrhages, and because of which you can have this patchy vision loss in your eye. So diabetic retinopathy, each and every person with diabetes has to have a well-controlled diabetes, and they should have a diabetic retina checkup once a year, which is absolutely mandatory. If you have some diabetic retinopathy problems, then you will need it even more frequent retina checkups will be required as prescribed by your doctor. And do not delay it. If a doctor says that you need a laser or an injection in your eye, do it as soon as possible, because if you don't do it at the right time, if the damage worsens, it can cause permanent damage to your vision. So do not let it go out of hand. And the most important thing to remember is proper diabetes control. Control of diabetes is the most important thing that cannot be stressed enough. So yes, you will have dark spots or floaters in your vision, blurred vision, fluctuating vision, color vision will be impaired. There will be areas where you don't see. So yes, control of blood sugar level and control of blood pressure also along with that. So you need to control not only the blood sugar, but blood pressure and cholesterol also. Please do not smoke if you have diabetic retinopathy. Smoking even worsens that, because smoking, what it does, it damages your blood vessels. And when it damages the blood vessel, it worsens the diabetes related blood vessel damage. So smoking can cause double damage to your retina. So need to take care of that also. So nowadays, when we are going through this pandemic 2 years, all of us, not only us, kids and everybody, the amount of electronic media which we use, may it be the laptop or the pad or the phone, TV, everything has increased quite a lot, because we are all confined to our houses. We are not able to go outside. We are not able to have a normal active lifestyle. So because of this, the amount of strain which we see in our OPDs nowadays has increased quite a lot. What is eye strain? So if you have an extended use on the computer, mobile phone, TV, etc., then you might not be able to focus on excessive lighting. You might become light sensitive. You might have some strain around your eyes. You might have headaches. These are all, you might have some dryness, eye watering, redness in the eyes. These are all parts of eye strain. So yes, and sometimes you'll feel that after staring at the screen for some time, the vision goes blurred. Sometimes it is clear, sometimes it is blurred, burning sensation in your eyes. And there's another thing which we are seeing a lot in the kids is difficulty in focusing. They are not able to focus. And when at the night they try to go to sleep, they are too excited to go to sleep. They just can't fall asleep. They are not able to relax themselves. That feeling of disorientation is also there. This is all because of the overexposure of electronic media. So these are all the things which has increased in this current pandemic. WhatsApp and all these things have increased so much. Even when we go to sleep at night, at the end, we see what are the chat messages on that. We have to be always in contact with this. If you take away a phone from a person for maybe a day or so, he might not be able to survive. So yes, our dependency has increased, and because of this, the digital devices, our eye strain problem has also increased quite a lot. So yes, what do we do now for this? We have to follow a few healthy tips. Practice distancing the electronic media from your eye at least 25 inches. You need to have a proper seat with a proper backrest to sit and do the work. You should not be hunching over the laptop to do your work, or it should not be too high, because if it is too high, your eye is wide open and it can cause dryness or evaporation from your water from your eyes. If you're too hunched up, you'll have back problems because of it. It should be at a proper level so that your eye is not too wide open, your back is not hunched, you just have a proper position. Decrease the brightness of your screen, lower the brightness of your screen. That's also very important for you to not have the glare from the screen. Always follow the 20-20-20 rule. That means every 20 minutes, just look 20 feet away or just blink your eyes 20 times. Just for 20 seconds, you have to do this. So you always follow this 20-20 rule, and you will be helping your eyes to relax in between, and you will not have the eye strain. Wash your eyes regularly. Use a lubricating drop if you have dryness. Nighttime settings, you can use nighttime settings to decrease the blue light exposure, or you can wear a blue light filter in your glasses. If you have prescription glasses, you can have a blue light filter in that, so that this decreases the strain on your eyes. Consider turning off the light. You can decrease the surrounding light also when you are working on the desktop or laptop, so there's no light directly focusing on your screen when you're trying to work. Try to blink more often while looking at the. We forget to blink when we are looking at something or we are trying to work on something, because that is a normal thing which is there ingrained in our brain, because we are trying to take in more data when we are seeing at the screen. So we blink a lot less. Normally we are blinking 18 to 20 times a minute, and when we are seeing at a screen, we blink 8 times a minute. So that is very important for us to remember to try and blink more. Very important for us to lubricate the eye, otherwise you will have evaporative dry eyes. So when do we need to go for an eye check? And what do we do when we go for an eye check? When you go for an eye check, you need to check your vision. If there's a glass pan, that needs to be checked. You need to check your eye pressure. If the eye pressure is high, you might need a screening for glaucoma. After the eye pressure, maybe a visual field examination, a retina examination. A retina examination will check all the things. It will check your optic nerve, it will check your retina for diabetic retinopathy, it will check for ARMD, it will be checking for holes in the retina for people having high myopia, and a slit-lamp examination to find out if the anti-segment ocular health is good or not. So these are the things you get in a comprehensive eye examination, and that should be done by your ophthalmologist. And if you do regular eye exams, then you might be able to find out a problem at the earliest stage, treat it so that you don't have a permanent damage in your eye. When are the kids supposed to go for an eye checkup? They should be doing a checkup between the age of 3 to 5 years. And kids who are on the screen for a long time, they might need an eye examination once a year. And if there are no symptoms or family history of eye diseases, then once in every 1 or 2 years is good enough for kids, for people to have eye checkup. Adults, every 5 to 10 years in your 20s and 30s. You don't need to go for a checkup every year. 5 or 10 years if you don't have any eye problems. 2 to 4 years once you cross the age of 40. And once you cross the age of 55 or 60, you should be going 1 to 3 years if you don't have any problems. Once you cross 65, you should get a yearly checkup. It is always advisable to get a yearly checkup done. So I think The first thing which we need to take a pledge is that we will donate our eyes and decrease the amount of preventable corneal blindness which is there, which we can help out in. So help the visually impaired to see the beauty of life. I think that is something which we have to take a pledge, and this is what we need to do. This is what India needs to do. Thank you so much.